The night sky above Earth changed in seconds. At first, people thought it was only a strange storm. Clouds rolled across the horizon, but then the stars vanished one by one. A shadow moved across the heavens. Vast shapes, dark and endless. Cities. From New York to Tokyo looked up, and silence fell. It was not a storm. It was a fleet. The alien ships were bigger than mountains, glowing with red fire and silver light. They blocked the moon, their shadows stretching across the oceans. Television screens around the world showed the same image. The invasion had begun. Fear spread through every street. People clutched their children, neighbors whispered, and soldiers stood frozen. In a small cafe in London, a woman dropped her cup as she stared at the sky. "What are those things?" she whispered. "They're here for us," said a man beside her. His voice was low, heavy with dread. "It's the Empire, the alien Empire." Far above, the alien fleet opened channels of sound. Their voices thundered across the air in a strange, vibrating language. Then translated words echoed through radios and speakers. "People of Earth, surrender your world. Serve the Empire, resist, and you will be destroyed." The sound carried through every city, every home. People covered their ears, trembling. Some cried, others prayed, but deep underground, in a hidden base buried beneath mountains, human leaders sat in silence. They listened to the message with calm faces, their eyes locked on massive screens showing the alien fleet. "They believe we are weak," said a general, his voice steady. "They think Earth has nothing." Another leader leaned forward. "Then it's time to show them what we kept hidden." Above ground, panic grew. Alien warships fired beams of burning light, tearing across the sky. Skyscrapers shook, glass shattered, and fire rose into the air. The world looked ready to fall. Yet, in the middle of this destruction, something stirred. From the depths of the Pacific Ocean, the water boiled and shook. People standing on the coast screamed as the sea split apart. Rising from the deep came shapes no one expected. Enormous submarines, black as night, broke the surface, glowing with blue lines of energy. Their towers rose higher and higher until they stood like giants above the waves. In the deserts, mountains cracked open, hidden doors of stone split apart, and deep within, enormous cannons lifted to the surface, glowing with strange light. In secret valleys, massive hangars opened, and fleets of warships lifted into the air, each larger than the aircraft carriers humans once thought were the greatest. The alien empire had expected only one fleet of defense, but what they saw was 10 fleets hidden in silence for years, each one armed with weapons beyond imagination. In the cafe, the woman stared at the news screen, her hand shaking. "What? What is that? Where did those ships come from?" The man beside her gave a faint smile. They thought Earth was sleeping, but Earth has been awake all along. Above the oceans, Earth's ships rose higher. Their black armor gleamed against the fire-lit sky. The alien warships turned their guns, but Earth struck first. A flash brighter than lightning cut through the heavens, and the lead alien cruiser exploded in a ball of fire. Pieces of metal burned as they fell into the sea. The people of Earth gasped, their fear mixing with sudden hope. Inside one of Earth's warships, a pilot gripped his controls. His voice was steady as he spoke to his team. "Remember this day. They thought we were prey. Let's show them what predators look like." The battle began. Alien ships fired beams of red light, tearing through the clouds. But Earth's weapons answered faster and sharper. Missiles screamed through the sky, leaving trails of fire. Cannons of energy burned holes straight through alien armor. One by one, alien warships burst apart. Explosions lit up the heavens like a second sun. In orbit, an alien commander shouted in disbelief, his voice cracking, "Impossible! How can this planet resist us?" But no answer came, only more fire. On Earth's warship bridge, the general leaned closer to the screen. "They wanted war," he said coldly. "Now they'll taste it." Minutes passed, but it felt like hours. The alien fleet shrank with every strike. Ships once thought indestructible fell burning into the oceans. Alien soldiers screamed as their empire's pride shattered in front of them. The galaxy's most feared invaders, destroyed by a world they thought weak. On the cafe's screen, the woman whispered, They're winning. We're winning." Tears filled her eyes. People inside the cafe cheered, hugging strangers, shouting in disbelief. Across the world, fear began to turn into fire, fire of hope, fire of victory. Then, as the last alien flagship exploded in silence, Earth spoke. Across every radio, every speaker, every channel, a message was broadcast in a calm, firm voice. This planet is not weak. For thousands of years, Earth has fought wars, faced enemies, and survived every trial. We learned, we built, we prepared. We are ready for any empire that dares attack us. Let this be the lesson. Earth does not fall. Earth rises. In the silence that followed, survivors from the alien fleet fled into the dark of space. Broken, terrified, they carried the story with them. Earth was not prey. Earth was the nightmare waiting in the shadows. Back on the ground, people stood together in streets filled with smoke and fire. They looked to the sky, no longer with fear, but with pride. The man in the cafe turned to the woman and said softly, "Tonight, the galaxy learned something new." She nodded slowly, eyes still wide. "What's that?" "That Earth is not the hunted," he said. "Earth is the hunter." The world had been attacked. The Empire had struck with all its power. But in the end, their mighty fleet was shattered instantly, and Earth stood stronger than ever. The story of that night would spread across galaxies. Whispers would travel from one world to another. Some would laugh, others would tremble. But all would remember one truth. Humanity was no longer in the shadows. Humanity had stepped into the light of the stars, and the stars would never forget. The first alien cruiser had already fallen, but the battle had only begun. Fire and smoke filled the night sky as Earth's hidden fleets rose higher, meeting the invaders head-on. Cities below shook from the thunder of weapons, and oceans boiled as burning wrecks crashed into the water. In a bunker deep beneath Washington, military leaders watched the screens. "They underestimated us," one officer said, his eyes fixed on the glowing images. "Now they know the truth." Another leaned forward. "Don't celebrate yet. Their numbers are still greater than ours." Above, the alien empire unleashed its fury. Dozens of warships broke formation, diving toward Earth with burning trails of energy. Their weapons fired in every direction, striking at Earth's defenses with brutal force. Towers fell, mountains shook, and the sky lit with deadly light. Inside one of Earth's battleships, a young pilot gritted his teeth. "They're coming straight for us." His commander's voice came through the comm. "Hold the line. Trust your training. This is our home, and we will not fall." The alien fleet fired again, beams of red tearing across the air. For a moment it seemed Earth's defenses might collapse. One submarine shattered under the fire, breaking apart as flames swallowed it. Soldiers inside screamed as water crushed. The remains. In the cafe in London, the woman who had watched from the start pressed her hands to her mouth. "Oh God, we can't survive this." The man beside her shook his head. "Don't lose hope. Watch." And then Earth struck back harder. Hidden satellites, silent for decades, suddenly came to life. They opened like giant flowers in space, releasing blasts of pure white light. The beams cut straight through alien armor, leaving nothing but silence. Where ships once stood. "Direct hit!" shouted a voice from Earth's control room. Cheers erupted, but they died quickly as more alien ships filled the screens. In orbit, an alien commander screamed in anger. "Increase firepower! Break their defenses! This planet must burn!" His crew obeyed, firing round after round. Explosions shook the sky. Earth's fleets wavered under the endless assault, but the humans were not finished. Inside a mountain base, a general gave the order. "Release the Guardians." From beneath the ice of Antarctica, the ground split. Open, out of the frozen wasteland rose massive machines, tall as skyscrapers, built of black steel and glowing blue cores. They moved with slow, steady power, like giants returning from a long sleep. People across the world stared at their screens, in shock. "What are those things?" someone whispered. "They're ours," said a soldier with pride. "Our last shield." The machines lifted their arms, and from their cores, streams of energy shot into the sky, ripping alien cruisers apart with blinding power. For the first time, the alien empire began to falter. In the cafe, the woman gasped. We built this. How? When?" The man only gave her a small, grim smile. "We've been ready longer than you think." Above, the alien fleet grew desperate. They sent their largest ship, a dark titan that blotted out the sky. It opened fire with a beam so strong that entire mountains cracked under its force. Earth's ships scattered, but one was too slow. It was struck, breaking into two burning halves that fell screaming into the ocean. The pilot inside another ship clenched his fists. "We're losing too many." His commander's voice cut through. "Focus! That ship is their leader. Take it down, and the rest will fall apart." The humans rallied. Dozens of warships turned their weapons toward the alien titan. Missiles streaked through the air, and cannons burned holes in its armor. But the alien flagship was strong, stronger than anything Earth had faced. It kept firing, destroying ship after ship. In the underground base, the general gave one last order. His voice was cold and sharp. "Activate the final defense, the Sun Spear." All across Earth, towers hidden under cities and forests began to glow. Energy gathered, linking across the planet like veins of fire. The sky turned white, the air humming with power. Then, in one single burst, the energy shot upward, combining into one enormous beam. The Sun Spear struck the alien titan with unstoppable force. For a heartbeat it held. The ship screamed as its armor cracked. Then it exploded, a fireball brighter than the sun, breaking the night into blinding day. People on Earth cried out, not in fear, but in triumph. The cafe shook from the force, glasses rattling on tables, but cheers erupted as the screen showed the alien flagship shatter into pieces. The woman grabbed the man's arm. "We did it! We actually did it!" The man's eyes stayed on the sky. His voice was quiet. "Not yet, look." Even as the flagship burned, smaller alien ships remained, but without their leader they began to scatter. Some turned and fled into space, their formation broken. Others fired wildly, only to be torn apart by Earth's weapons. On the bridge of an Earth warship, the pilot leaned back, exhausted. "They're running. We won." His commander nodded. "No, this was only the beginning. They'll return. And when they do, they'll come with more." Back in the cafe, the woman's smile faded. "So it's not over?" The man shook his head. "No, tonight we survived. Tomorrow the galaxy will come for us. But tonight Earth proved something no one believed." She tilted her head. "What's that?" "That we are not prey," he said firmly. "We are predators waiting in the dark." The cafe filled with cheers as people hugged and laughed, but his words lingered. The battle was won, but the war had just begun. Across the galaxy, whispers would spread of the Empire's defeat. Some would see Earth as hope, others would see Earth as a threat. But all would remember the invaders came with power, and their mighty fleet was shattered in an instant. Smoke still hung in the sky, drifting like a dark curtain after the battle. Across the planet, people stepped out from shelters, looking up at the stars with trembling relief. The alien fleet was gone, or what was left of it, but fear did not vanish. The question now spread through every city, every street. How had Earth done this? In the cafe in London, the woman stared at the screen as reporters shouted over one another. 10 fleets, hidden for decades. Weapons beyond known science. Her voice was soft, almost a whisper. How could we build all of that without anyone knowing? The man beside her sipped his cold coffee. His eyes stayed on the sky, calm but sharp. Some truths, he said, are too heavy for the world to carry until the time is right. Far beneath the Rocky Mountains, in a base deeper than any city's subway, leaders gathered around a glowing table. Screens showed maps of the Earth, the oceans, the sky. A general stood tall, his face lined with years of secrets. Phase 1 is complete, he said firmly. The invasion force is destroyed, but this is not the end. Another officer frowned. The people will demand answers. They'll want to know where these fleets came from, why we kept them hidden. The general's eyes were cold. Better questions than why we failed. Earth survived because of silence. Do not forget that. Above the planet, Earth's warships moved quietly, their hulls scarred from battle. In one of them, a young pilot leaned back in his seat, exhausted. We fought like ghosts, he muttered. They never saw us coming. His commander answered through the comm, his voice steady. Ghosts don't win wars, but tonight we showed them the dead can strike. Back! Silence filled the room until another pilot whispered, Do you think they'll return? The commander paused. Yes, and next time they won't come alone. Meanwhile, among the wreckage floating in orbit, not all the aliens were dead. A small cruiser drifted in the shadows, half broken, carrying survivors. Inside, an alien officer pressed trembling hands against a control panel. His face was twisted in disbelief. This is not possible, he hissed in his strange, echoing tongue. They are primitives. They should have fallen in hours. Another alien coughed, blood dripping down his face. We must warn the Empire. If Earth has power like this, then the galaxy itself is in danger. Their ship limped into the dark, engines burning weakly. Behind them, Earth's scanners picked up the signal. Deep in the mountain base, alarms rang. They're running, said a soldier at his console. One ship escaped the destruction. The general narrowed his eyes. Do not let them spread word of what they've seen. Orders went out. From the shadows of space, a silent Earth interceptor detached from a hidden station and pursued. Back in the cafe, the woman leaned close to the man. Do you think the war is over? His answer came after a long pause. Wars don't end this fast. Sometimes the first battle is only the knock on the door. The news reporter's voice grew louder from the television. Scientists confirm the weapons used in tonight's defense are beyond any public technology. Questions rise. Who built them and how long have they been prepared? The woman shook her head. It feels like the Earth we knew was a lie. The man finally looked at her, his eyes steady. Or maybe it was the truth you weren't ready to see. In orbit, the interceptor closed on the alien cruiser. Inside, Earth pilots prepared their weapons. Target locked, one whispered. But before they could fire, the alien ship vanished into a sudden flash of light. It was gone. In the mountain base, silence fell over the control room. They jumped, said a technician. Some kind of long-range escape. We lost them. The general slammed his fist against the table. Then it has begun. The Empire will know what we are. On the streets of Earth, celebrations broke out. Children waved flags, families hugged, strangers cheered together in the glow of fires still burning from the battle. They thought victory was final. They did not see the storm already building beyond the stars. That night, as the world tried to rest, the woman from the cafe stood on her balcony, staring at the stars. The man had walked with her, silent as always. Do you think they're afraid of us now? She asked. He nodded slowly. Afraid and angry. That is a dangerous mix. She turned to him, her voice shaking. Why do you sound like you know more than you should? Who are you, really? The man gave a faint smile, the kind that hid more than it revealed. Just someone who knows the truth. Earth's secrets were never for the invaders. They were for us, she frowned, confused. For us? For the day we stopped fearing the stars, he said. Then he walked into the shadows, leaving her alone with his words. Far away, in a dark council chamber across the galaxy, alien leaders gathered as the wounded cruiser delivered its message. Holograms flickered, showing images of Earth's fleets, Earth's weapons, Earth's victory. The chamber erupted in shock and rage. "Impossible!" shouted one. "A single planet cannot stand against us." But another, older alien leaned forward, his eyes glowing faintly. "Do not be fools. This is no ordinary world. Earth is something else. And if they are not crushed now, they will rise higher than any of us." A heavy silence followed. Then the order was given. "Summon the war councils. This is no longer a conquest. This is survival." Back on Earth, people slept with dreams of peace. But above them, the stars stirred with whispers of war. The Empire would return, stronger than before. Yet hidden in Earth's silence was another secret, one even greater than fleets or weapons. Something waiting, still unseen, and when the time came, the galaxy would discover that humanity's greatest weapon was not its ships or its guns. It was something far older, far stronger, and far more dangerous than any empire had ever known. The world was still celebrating when the first signs of danger returned. Across cities, fireworks filled the night, people waved flags, and news anchors spoke of a new age for humanity. But deep inside the mountain base, the generals were not smiling. On the giant screen, a red signal blinked. It was faint at first, almost hidden, but it carried a meaning only the trained understood. "They're moving," said a young officer, his voice tight. "The Empire. They're calling reinforcements." The general stood silent for a moment before answering. "Then our real test begins." Above the Earth, the wreckage of alien ships still burned in orbit, glowing like falling stars. Salvage teams moved among the debris, scanning broken metal, searching for secrets. In one of the control rooms, a scientist leaned over a twisted piece of alien armor. "This technology is centuries ahead of us," she whispered, "and yet we destroyed them." "How?" Her assistant looked uneasy. "Because we had weapons no one ever knew about. Weapons the world wasn't supposed to see." She touched the cracked metal, her eyes dark with thought. "Or maybe because someone else gave them to us." Meanwhile, far across the galaxy, the alien empire was in chaos. Their council chamber shook with anger. Thousands of voices cried out in rage as the story spread. Earth, the forgotten world on the edge of space, had shattered their proud fleet. One commander slammed his clawed hand against the table. "We must crush them now. If we wait, they will only grow stronger." But another voice, colder, deeper, filled the chamber. "Do not underestimate them again. Earth is not what we thought. We must bring not only ships, but everything. If they resist, we will burn their planet to ash." The order was given. A massive fleet, 10 times larger than the first, began to gather in silence. Back on Earth, the cafe in London was full of laughter. The woman sat at a table with her phone, glowing in her hands. "They're saying this is history," she said with wide eyes, "that tonight marks the birth of a new era." The man across from her, calm as always, only shook his head. "History isn't written in a single night. It's written in what follows." She frowned. "Why do you always sound like you know more than the rest of us? You're hiding something." His eyes narrowed slightly. "Some truths are better hidden until the right moment." Before she could ask more, the cafe's screen flickered. The broadcast changed to a military announcement. A stern-faced officer appeared, his words sharp and urgent. "All citizens are to remain calm. We have received signs of another fleet moving in our direction. The battle is not finished. Stay in shelters when ordered. The cafe grew silent. The woman whispered, "Another fleet. Already." The man placed his cup down slowly. "I told you. The first strike was only the beginning." In the mountain base, alarms blared. The general looked at the map glowing red with signals from space. "They are not waiting years or months," he said grimly. "They are coming now." Earth's leaders leaned closer, their faces pale. "We can't fight another armada so soon. Our fleets are damaged, our defense is weakened." The general's eyes stayed cold. "Then we will use what remains of our hidden cards." He gave the order. Across the planet, secret stations deep beneath deserts, jungles, and oceans began to stir. Massive engines rumbled as ancient weapons powered on systems that had been sleeping for decades. In orbit, Earth's warships formed lines once more. Pilots checked their controls, their voices tight but steady. "We survived the first wave," said one. "We can do it again." His commander replied, "The first wave was nothing compared to what is coming. But remember this, fear belongs to them now, not us." The second invasion began with silence, then the stars darkened. One by one, enormous alien warships dropped out of hyperspace, filling the heavens with endless shapes. There were hundreds, maybe thousands, each larger than the last. On the ground, people looked up and felt their hearts freeze. In the cafe, the woman clutched the man's arm. "It's impossible. There are too many." His eyes remained calm, though a shadow passed across his face. "Impossible," he murmured, "is only the word people use before they win or die." The alien fleet opened fire. Red beams cut through the atmosphere, striking oceans and cities with devastating power. Skyscrapers melted, entire forests burned, and the ground itself shook as explosions spread across continents. Earth's fleets rose to meet them. Cannons fired, missiles launched, satellites burst with streams of energy. The sky became a battlefield of light and fire. Inside one warship, a young pilot screamed as enemy fire ripped past his hull. "There's too many. We can't hold." His commander's voice came through, fierce and steady. "Hold the line. If we fall here, there is no tomorrow." In the mountain base, the general gave his final order. "Activate Project Eclipse." At once, hidden towers across the earth began to glow. From them, waves of dark energy pulsed into the sky. The light bent, the stars seemed to vanish, and a great shield wrapped around the planet like a second skin. Alien beams struck it and shattered like glass against stone. For the first time, the invading fleet hesitated. On the alien flagship, a commander growled, "What sorcery is this?" His advisor whispered, "It is no sorcery. It is a trap. Earth has been waiting for us all along." The battle raged for hours. Ships exploded in fire, oceans boiled with wreckage, mountains shook under falling debris. Humanity fought with every weapon it had, every secret revealed. At last, as dawn broke across the earth, the sky was filled with burning metal. Alien ships fell like dying stars, crashing into the seas and deserts. The survivors turned and fled, broken and afraid. On the cafe screen, the woman saw it all. Her tears fell freely as she whispered, We survived again." The man beside her finally smiled, but it was not a smile of joy. "Yes, but survival always has a price." She looked at him in fear. "What price?" He stood, his shadow long against the cafe wall. "The galaxy now knows Earth is not weak, and they will never stop until we are either rulers or dust." The fires of battle were still burning when the truth began to surface. Across the planet, wreckage lay scattered over oceans and mountains. Alien ships smoldered like broken stars, while Earth's own fleets limped back to their hidden bases. The second invasion had been stopped, but no one felt safe. In the mountain command center, silence filled the room. Screens showed endless data, red warnings blinking everywhere. Soldiers whispered among themselves, but no one dared speak too loudly. Finally, the general broke the silence. "We survived 2 strikes," he said, his voice heavy. "But the question remains, how?" One of the younger officers frowned. "Because of our weapons, sir. The hidden fleets, the shield, the sun spear." The general cut him off. "Those were not built by us alone." Gasps filled the room. The officers exchanged uneasy glances. "Then who?" One asked carefully. The general's eyes were cold. "It is time you all learned the truth." Meanwhile, in London, the woman sat in the cafe again, though the mood outside was different now. Streets were filled with broken glass. People walked in silence, and every face carried the same look, fear mixed with questions. She turned to the man across from her. "They're saying the government knew about these weapons for years. They're saying it wasn't human technology at all. Is it true?" The man stirred his coffee slowly, not meeting her eyes. "Tell me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "Where did all this come from? Who gave us this power?" He looked at her at last, his gaze sharp as a blade. "The answer was always here, buried beneath your feet. You just never asked the right question." Her hands shook. "What question?" "Why?" "Earth," he said softly, "was left alone for so long." Across the galaxy, alien survivors reported the same thing. Earth had not only fought, it had fought with knowledge no primitive world should have. Alien councils gathered in panic, their voices loud with anger and fear. "They used our own designs against us," one shouted. "Their weapons bear the marks of our lost ships." Another leaned forward, his voice dark. "No, not lost. Taken. Earth has been stealing from us for centuries." The chamber erupted, but above it all came the voice of the elder alien, slow and cold. "Then Earth is not only dangerous, it is clever, and clever is worse than strong." Back on Earth, the general addressed the officers. His voice echoed through the silent command room. "Thousands of years ago, before our written history, they came, the first empire, not as conquerors, but as explorers. Their ships crashed here, some were destroyed, some abandoned, and humans found them." A young officer's eyes widened. "You mean our ancestors?" "Yes," the general said. "They studied what they could not understand. Piece by piece they learned. Over centuries the knowledge grew. Hidden. Societies protected it. Governments denied it, but the work never stopped. That is how we were ready." The officers sat frozen, the weight of the revelation pressing down on them. In the cafe, the woman whispered, "So all this time, humanity had alien knowledge." The man nodded slightly. "Not given, stolen, adapted, made ours. That is why the Empire feared to strike before. They did not know how much we had learned." She leaned closer, her voice trembling. "But why keep it secret? Why not tell the world?" His eyes darkened. "Because truth can be heavier than war. If people had known, they would have torn each other apart long before the Empire arrived." Her breath caught. "So you're saying all of this was hidden to protect us? Not only to protect you," he said, "to protect the galaxy from you." The cafe grew silent as his words hung in the air. Meanwhile, out in orbit, teams continued salvaging alien wreckage. One scientist sent a message to the base. "We found something," she said urgently. "This ship's core, it matches designs hidden in our archives, almost perfectly. We didn't just learn from their old technology. We've been building toward this day for thousands of years." The general received the report and gave a grim nod. "Then it is confirmed. Humanity is not only a survivor. Humanity is the heir of every fallen empire that came before." In the cafe, the woman stared at the man. "Heir?" she repeated softly. "Yes," he said, "every weapon, every secret. Humanity is not only fighting for survival, it is rising to take the place of those who ruled before. That is what they fear most, Her voice dropped to a whisper. "And if we win?" His gaze was steady. "Then Earth will not only defend itself, it will command the stars." Far across the galaxy, the alien council argued into the night. Some demanded another invasion, greater than before. Others whispered of surrender or alliances or something worse. But one truth became clear. The age of humanity had begun. Back on Earth, the people still celebrated survival, but whispers spread. Some spoke of hidden knowledge, others of betrayal. Some feared the secrets their leaders had kept. But one thing was certain. Earth was no longer just a planet. It was a power, and the galaxy would never see it the same way again. The woman left the cafe that night, her thoughts heavy. She looked up at the stars, her voice barely audible. Are we the saviors or the danger? Behind her, the man's voice, carried softly, almost like an echo. Sometimes the difference is only in who tells the story, and with that the night sky seemed darker, the stars colder, as Earth's hidden truth stood revealed to all who dared to listen. The world was quiet after the battles, but the silence did not feel like peace. It felt like the pause before a storm. Across the earth, cities repaired what they could. Streets were cleared of ash. Wreckage was pulled from oceans, and people tried to smile again. But in every smile, there was a shadow. Everyone knew the Empire would return. In the mountain base, the general stood before a large map of the galaxy. Red marks glowed brighter than stars, each one showing an enemy fleet. They are moving, he said grimly. Not just the Empire. Other powers. Word of our victory has spread, and now they all want to know the truth about Earth. An officer shifted nervously. Some might see us as allies. The general shook his head. Most will see us as a threat. A planet that can destroy an empire will not be ignored. Above the planet, Earth's fleets orbited silently. Ships with black armor, scarred but alive, drifted like guardians in the night sky. Pilots sat in their stations, waiting. Some spoke quietly to each other, their voices heavy. Do you think we'll survive the next one? A young soldier asked. His commander answered without hesitation. We don't have the choice to doubt. We either stand or we vanish. In London, the woman sat again in the cafe, though the city around her was darker now. She turned to the man across from her, her voice low. The news says Earth might send a message to the galaxy, something to warn them or to threaten them. Which do you think it will be? The man's expression stayed unreadable. Both. Warnings and threats often sound the same, depending on who is listening. She leaned closer. But what if this makes things worse? What if the whole galaxy unites against us? He finally met her eyes. Then humanity will face them all. And if history has shown anything, it is that humanity does not bow. That night the message was sent. Across space, through hidden satellites and long-range signals, a single voice carried into the dark. Calm, strong, undeniable. This is Earth. We are not weak. We do not kneel. To those who seek to conquer us, know this. Your fleets will shatter. Your empires will fall. To those who wish peace, we will meet you as equals, but never as slaves. The message traveled faster than light, reaching distant worlds where aliens gathered to listen. Some laughed in disbelief. Others trembled in silence. But all remembered the images of shattered fleets, and the words sank deep. In the empires, council chamber rage erupted. Commanders shouted, pounding the table with iron fists. They dare speak as rulers. They dare challenge the galaxy itself. The elder alien raised his hand for silence. His eyes burned like coals. They are not challenging. They are declaring. Earth believes itself ready to rise. We cannot allow it. If we fail again, the age of the Empire ends. Back on Earth, the woman walked through the broken streets with the man at her side. Fires still burned in corners and children played in rubble. Pretending to be pilots who shot down alien ships, she watched them quietly. "They're already turning war into stories," she said. "That is how humans survive," the man replied, "by turning pain into hope." She stopped walking and looked at him closely. "You keep talking like you're not one of us. Who are you really?" For the first time he smiled, though it was faint and sharp. "Someone who has seen the galaxy from the other side." Her breath caught. "You're not entirely human," he finished for her. "Not in the way you think. Long ago, some of us stayed behind when the first explorers came. We lived, we learned, we became part of this world. That is why Earth rose so quickly. Humanity did not climb alone." She stepped back, her voice shaking. "So you're saying humanity was never just human?" He nodded once. "That is the truth they fear most. That is why they will come again with fire and fury, because Earth is not only the child of this planet, it is the child of the stars." Her mind spun, but before she could ask more, a loud sound broke the night. Sirens, screens lit up across the city. The same message appeared everywhere. Unidentified fleets approaching. Prepare for impact. People screamed, running for cover. Soldiers rushed through the streets. The woman grabbed the man's arm. "Already? They're back." He looked to the sky, where the stars began to dim once more. "Not the Empire," he said. "Others. The galaxy has heard Earth's voice, and now everyone wants to answer." Above, dozens of new fleets appeared in the heavens, their ships massive and unknown. Some fired warning shots into the atmosphere. Others only watched. In the mountain base, the general's face was pale but determined. "It begins. The galaxy is here. In orbit, Earth's fleets shifted into formation, engines glowing, weapons charging. Pilots whispered prayers, curses, promises." On the ground, the woman held her breath as the sky lit up again. Beside her, the man whispered words. That sounded more like prophecy than comfort. "The war is not over. It has only begun. Tonight, the galaxy learns that Earth does not just defend itself. Earth changes the game." As the first blast split the sky and the world shook again, one truth burned brighter than fire. The Empire had feared Earth, but now the galaxy itself trembled. The hunters had arrived, but Earth was no prey. Earth was the storm.